can put their contact information in their business in the chat box. I see so many of you are there already. And welcome. It's nice to see so many different people logging in this morning, and especially that you that are a little further than from our area. That is one nice thing about going virtual, is we've been able to reach more people throughout Texas, throughout all of the states, and we've even had people overseas attend before. But I see we have Laura Wagner here from College Station. So we have one of our grant winners. I see Anita here, Monsters on Main. She's already checked in. So make sure you put your contact information over in the chat box so everybody else knows who's here. I see Leslie Brenner here. Nice to have you this morning. Cindy Stewart. I see a lot of familiar names, but then a lot of new names here as well. So we are just about ready to get started. Okay.
Okay, I believe that we are live.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Tracy Irby, and I am the Associate Director at Texas Women's University Center for Women Entrepreneurs. The Center for Women Entrepreneurs is part of TWU's Jane Nelson Institute for Women in Leadership. The Jane Nelson Institute is dedicated to preparing women to take on successful roles in business and public service to ensure women have the education to establish careers as successful C-suite executives, the skills for building entrepreneurial businesses, and the framework needed to run for public office. So we are one of the three centers there. We offer many different things to women business owners throughout the state of Texas. We were funded by the legislature in 2015 just to help promote women in business. And we do that through professional development, networking events like these. We do small business advising, and we also help with funding for small business women in business here in Texas. So again, welcome everyone. We're so glad to have you here this morning. We are going to address I'm going to be watching the comments, and if you have questions, we will do those at the end. You can send those to Donna Lisa Stinyard in the chat box, and I'll be watching other ones as well to make sure all of your questions will be answered. Again, if you like, you can put your contact information in the chat box so everybody will know who else is here. So again, welcome, and I'm excited to introduce our speaker this morning. So this morning we have Amanda Smith. She is a public educator by trade turned business owner and CEO. In 2017, Amanda founded a group on Facebook called Dallas Girl Gang, a platform for women to find community, career, and business resources and integrate into DFW life. After 3 years, her company, Together LLC, has now grown into a platform that serves 45,000 across the country with Dallas Girl Gang events and Facebook group, the Girl Gang podcast, and the Boss Vision Conference for female entrepreneurs. Amanda is ambitious, driven, and strives to let all women know they belong and have value. You can find Amanda on social media sharing business tips, life with her husband and dog, and empowering women. So Amanda, welcome. We're so glad to have you here this morning.
Thank you. Thank you. I am so excited to be here. As an educator by trade, it is just such a thrill to be able to educate in the business world now. It's so exciting. So thank you, Tracy and Donna Lisa and everybody from TWU. Again, my name is Amanda Smith. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Let's make sure everything works. I know we're all going digital these days, and we have taken all of our events, digital, and all of that stuff. Okay, someone get me in the chat if you guys can see my screen. I'm gonna make sure this is working. Okay. It usually goes pretty slow when you try to share. So give me 1 second. So excited to be here. Happy Tuesday. I would love to, before we get started, in the chat box, I love looking and seeing where everybody is coming from. Not even just geographically. I know most of us are probably in Texas, but what's your industry, your business, things like that. I would love to hear that from you. I apologize. This is going pretty slow. Okay. There we go.
This is Lisa Cave, and I'm with Point Bank, so I'm in banking.
Awesome. Yeah. Anybody else? I'll be looking at this chat too. If you want to share. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get this all situated. So again, my name is Amanda Smith. I am in Dallas, Texas. I am so excited to be with you guys this morning. My workshop this morning is called Building Your Wild Fan Base. As Tracy said, I started a Facebook group with me and a few friends about 3.5 years ago. And here we are, 45,000 women later. And it is just so incredible to see where all these people are coming from. So I love being able to teach people how to really dive in and not just get people to buy your product, sign up for your service, follow you on social media, but truly become a loyal fan of you and your brand. It's a difficult thing to do, but you can do it. So I'm going to give you a little bit more background on me. I always feel a little weird when I jump right into a presentation, being taught by someone else and I don't really know much about them. I know Tracy covered a little bit a minute ago, but I'm gonna share a little bit more. I'm a Texas native. I grew up in Dallas, or in McKinney specifically, North Dallas. My degree is music education, so I'm a music teacher by trade, mainly elementary. I taught high school and junior high my first year and discovered that was not for me. I love teaching. It is the most wild profession, especially to be in these times. So yes, I'm a teacher turned business owner. I actually come from a direct sales background. I did a direct sales business for about 4 years. And that really funded the first days of Dallas Growing as that turned from this passion project into a full-time business. We're now a growing community of 45,000 women. We planned on launching into Austin this year, and then Corona kind of stopped those things, which is fine. So by the end of the year, we hope to be launched into Austin and franchise out across the country over the next several years. In our first full year of business, of really taking this into a business, filing as an LLC, things like that, we scaled to a 5-figure business. And now I am coaching and mentoring new business owners and side hustlers. I grew my business while I was teaching full-time, working 40 hours a week. And if you're a teacher, it's, not just 7 to 4, it's a lot of extra hours too. And then running a business. So I was working 60, 70 hours a week sometimes. So if anybody understands the side hustle, it is me. Fun facts about me. I love Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Although this morning I feel crazy hypocritical because I have Starbucks, but I love Dunkin' Donuts. I usually prefer it over Starbucks. My husband and I are both musicians. We met in college. And if you are familiar with the Enneagram, the personality test, I'm an Enneagram 7, which means I am very enthusiastic. It's called the enthusiast. I love to have my hands and feet in all different things. I like to try to make things sunshine and rainbows. And so Corona has definitely made me grow as a person. So on today's agenda, we're going to outline our story, because I think it's super important before we dive into the content of how did Dallas Growing get started? What was the growth? Why did it grow like it did? We're diving into your why. Why do you do what you do? We're creating a plan and your next steps. Okay, sound good? And as you guys have questions, I know Donalisa is gonna take those questions, I believe. So here is our story. Here's like a lovely, fun picture. This is from our conference at the end of the day last year, when some people had gone home, but a lot of people just stuck around because if you ever come to a Dallas Growing event, you will see we just love to be together. And I will say this, every time we host an event, it is a new set of people. We have some regulars, we have some people that always want to be involved. But when you see new people coming into your business on a regular basis, that is a really good sign that you are growing. So again, Dallas Growing started organically. I moved back to Dallas with my husband. We went to a college in Arkansas. He's from Arkansas, so we were there for several years, and then decided to come back here. I got a job teaching in Richardson ISD, and I had no network. I grew up here in McKinney, right? But I hadn't lived in Texas since I was 18. And so when I came back here, I was like, I have no network. I don't know, I can network with the people that I work with at school, but I was also running this direct sales business at the time. And so I started to try to discover things on Facebook, Instagram, events to go to. I'm very social. And so what I found was a few friends, a few great people, but every event that I went to, I saw a common theme in that it was all the same types of people. And I am someone who's a straight shooter. I can be kind of blunt, so I'm going to say this. I showed up and it was mainly just white girls in their 20s. And I was like, this is not what I expected. We live in Dallas, Texas. We're a very diverse, large metropolitan city. Why are these all the same people? And it felt like college again, or high school, like little cliques of people. And so I met a handful of this really unique group of women, and I wanted to stay in touch. So I just created a Facebook group, and I was thinking, no one else needs another Facebook group to be a part of, but whatever, here we go. And I added them to the group. I said, let's just stay in touch. And we just wanted to support each other, share each other's businesses, share ideas, brainstorm. And then we wanted to meet up. And then people told their friends, and then their friends told their friends. And now 3 years later, it has been this snowball of word of mouth, or even digital word of mouth, because social media is just digital word of mouth. Because what they found with Dallas Girl Gang was exactly what they needed. As an adult woman, I think everybody can attest to this. It doesn't matter your age, where you come from. As an adult woman, it is weird to find adult friends. It is weird and hard and difficult. It is like dating for friends. And so that's partially why I started this community, was because there was nothing out there like it. There was nothing that was all inclusive. So that's my second point. It started from a need, and it started from authenticity. I truly was like, I need a network. It was partially selfish. I was like, I need this for myself. I cannot be the only one. So I just put it out there. And again, lo and behold, we wanted to gather together, and I have previously I had a small background in event planning. And so when I started Dallas Growing, people really wanted to start getting together. And then 2 years into it, we were full on producing events with rentals and decor and photography and videography, and really creating just incredible experiences. The other thing too about our story is that you need to recognize, especially as a business owner, is we entered a white space. There was no one else doing this. There were other small, more very, very niche groups. There was a group, there were groups for like the Junior League of Dallas, or, women in tech, or, more individualized groups. But what I wanted to do was let everybody know, which is now our trademark, our legal trademark, is you can sit with us. Anybody is welcome. Everybody has a voice at the table. Everybody has a seat at the table. And we want you to know that when you walk in our doors, I always tell people that are nervous to show up by themselves, I will be your first friend. I will be your first person. And then I can help you find someone to go talk to or mingle with. Same thing with business. It's hard to find connections to build your business and start from scratch with a relationship, right? So we started organically. It started from a need. It came straight from my personal heart and my personal experience. And so it was very authentic. And it was a white space. All of this stuff, did I recognize that this was what was going on 3 years ago? No. This is me writing my story down 3 years later. So little piece of advice, keep your eyes open when you're at the beginning, because there was a point, probably end of 2018, I had this moment where I just said to myself, I think we're on to something. I think there's something here. And so don't ignore that. I don't know if you are familiar with Create and Cultivate. It is a massive worldwide company. They do events, conferences. They have an online community. It is a little similar to our platform, but they've been around a lot longer. They're massive. Jacqueline Johnson is the founder, and they do huge, I just admire her so much. If you don't know anything about Create and Cultivate or Jacqueline Johnson, I would encourage you, write it down or screenshot this, look her up later. She is lady boss of all lady bosses. She is literally my idol. And we brought her in and flew her in for our conference last year, and it was incredible. It was such a pinch me moment. If you've ever seen this phrase, community over competition, she coined this phrase. So if you've probably seen that, right? If we all raised our hands in a room right now, most of us would raise our hand. We've heard this. She was the first person that I really heard this from. And I think when we go into business, it is hard to not approach things with the mindset of you're assessing your competition. You're trying to beat out your competition. I think there's a healthy view of doing your research and see what you're going up against, especially if you are a newer business. But if you can approach things with the mindset of, I would rather have a relationship with you than try to just get more followers and get more traction and get more, traffic on my website or get more sales, because it's choice of running over people or things to get to your success point, or are you going to foster a community of people who are going to be behind you, even if they're in the same industry as you? One of the biggest things that I have tried to advocate for is that some of our partners be businesses that are similar to ours, because it just makes things more powerful. So that is a huge piece of my philosophy, what I do. So what we're gonna do here next is we're stopping and taking inventory. So if you have a notebook, or if you have your notes on your phone, or maybe you just want to screenshot and look at it later, this is kind of going back to the basics, but it's really, really good to do. Honestly, we do this kind of annually now. What problem are you solving? Look at your business. Maybe it's a nonprofit, maybe, whatever you might be doing. What problem are you solving for people? The problem we're solving for people is finding them community so they're not lonely. We're giving them local resources to find jobs. We're giving them resources for their business, events to grow their business, opportunities of subscription membership to grow their business. We have our podcast, we have our conference. We're solving a lot of problems for them. Our Facebook group, of course, that's where we started. Number two, is someone already doing this? I'm going to answer this one for you. Probably. Someone is probably doing this. They say, whoever they say there's nothing new under the sun, right? You are not the first person to think of XYZ. And that used to really bother me, but I got over it quickly, because there's also enough fish in the sea business-wise. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie You've Got Mail with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. It is one of my favorite movies ever. There's a line, so she's the small business owner. He's coming in with a big business, taking over, and probably going to shut her down. And she is talking to someone who's worried about her having to close. And she says, there's enough business for all of us. Of course, that was like the 90s, but still, there is enough business for all of us. I was just talking to a client yesterday about, she wants to join my 6-week group coaching program. She was like, I said, is there something you're afraid of? And she said, I'm afraid there's too many people doing what I'm doing, so I should just not even try. And my rebuttal to that is, so what? No one can copy your heart, and no one can copy your genetic DNA, your personality, your unique qualities. So if someone already doing this, probably, but who cares? And then that second point really flows nicely. What could you do that's unique and serves a purpose as well? So those unique qualities about you, about your brand, about your company, about the people on your team, if you have a team, what is unique about that you can position in your Instagram bio, the headline on your website, at the end of every email you send out to your list, whatever it might be, wherever you're putting out content or copy, what's unique that is always going to resonate? Like, oh, that's Alice, or that's Jennifer's business, or that's that brand that resonates with them, and serves a purpose as well. The next point is kind of similar back to the mindset of community over competition. Your heart and your purpose and your passion for whatever you're doing has to be over chasing the dollars. And I say this coming from, I was working a lot of hours because I was trying to go full time. And so that could be so appealing. That's what my mentor would call shiny object syndrome. And you've probably all heard of that. And if you haven't, it's you see something really shiny, like more dollars, but it's for more of your time, or more followers, but that doesn't necessarily translate to sales in your business. So approaching everything that you do with your passion or your purpose over chasing the next dollar. We partner with a lot of brands nationwide, a lot of different companies. They want to advertise with us. They want to get on our podcast, all the things. And there have definitely been times where I have said no because it just didn't align with what we were doing. It wasn't going to serve our audience. It wasn't going to serve the people we were trying to reach. And if we have this loyal fan base that we're trying to build, if you take the money over serving your audience, then your audience starts to back away because they feel that, they sense that. I will say there was one huge mistake I made. I don't regret it because I learned a good lesson, but we were asked to partner on a specific convention summit, and we were going to get all these sales and all these dollars and huge name brands and celebrities, and it flopped. It was terrible, but I did it because I wanted the exposure and I wanted the potential sales. Well, it was a total flop because I was chasing a shiny object, and it just didn't align with our people. And again, last point, connection with people and relationships over getting ahead. If you're always worried about getting ahead of X person, maybe there's a time where right now you need to go unfollow some people from Facebook, unfollow some people from Twitter, Instagram, whatever, because you don't have time to sit there and be sad about, well, so-and-so's doing this. Put your my business coach just told me this yesterday. She was like, Amanda, put your blinders on. You're straying away. You're looking at other people. Put your blinders on. And connect with the people who are in front of you. I lost my mouse here. There we go. Okay, so now all the good stuff. Facilitating your wild fan base. How to build a loyal following and that loyal fan base. There are so many ways to do this. Really, the approach is everything that you are doing. what are you doing to make people feel like they are a part of a group effort, a group community, right? Facebook groups are a huge way to do this. You probably know this, but I will say it is more intensive than you think, right? If you're going to start a Facebook group, I would plan. I would have rules, regulations. There's so many things I wish we would have done in the early days that we do now. I would plan. I would think about what's going to make whoever joins your group initially tell their friends about it. What value are you giving inside that group that's going to make people want to come back for more, tell their friends, share about it on another social media platform? That's huge. That's so huge. There's a business coach, her name is Shannon Lutz. She's speaking at our conference in September. She has a Facebook group that's free, just like ours, but her platform is she gives free training after free training for business owners. And it's a smart model, especially if you are a service provider as a business coach, or maybe you're in tech, maybe you teach people how to write, or legal advice. I don't know about legal, because if you're giving away for free, that's a weird thing. But in her group, she gives so much value that it honestly makes people think, I would pay for this. So when they see her offer her services for like a new program or a course that she's putting out, they're like, I'm in. She just gave me so much value. Why wouldn't I trust her? And this goes for product-based businesses too. If you can create a community around your brand, let's say you sell clothing, it's a clothing boutique, what's something unique that you can create around your Facebook group to create that momentum. Another thing about Facebook groups, and then these next points are going to be quick, is get people talking. That is the biggest thing. Facebook recognizes when your group is kind of dead, or it also recognizes when it's super engaging. We have a 96% engagement rate in our 20,000 person Facebook group. That is insane. And here's why. Every week we have conversation starters. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wednesdays is Work Wednesday. We put up a post. Everybody can comment in the post about their business, what they're working on, and promote themselves. On Monday, we talk, we might do like, hey, who's hiring? Are you looking for a job? Look in the comments for a job, right? People still comment on posts from like 2 months ago that still pop up. So get people talking, because you never know what's going to happen. Connection to social media. Instagram is a whole other world, but I will say this: if you're going to be on Instagram, just pick what you want to do. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Be consistent. If you're going to post 3 times a week, do 3 times a week. And if you're going to invest time into Instagram, you need to be on Instagram stories. Absolutely. If you are going to take your phone and video yourself talking, guess what? Statistically, well over 50% of people that are watching Instagram stories do not have their volume on. They don't turn their volume on. I don't, especially if I'm in a public place. It's like being on a phone call and speakerphone in public. Put text on your videos if you are doing a face to cam style video, which is super, super powerful. That's the other thing I was going to say about social media. Building a loyal following means showing up, showing your face, telling your story. So right now, if you're feeling like, ooh, I don't know if I can do that, then that's okay. Maybe Instagram's not your place. But I will say, at some point in your business, whether it's behind the scenes in your email marketing, in your Facebook group, people want to see you, especially if you're the founder, behind the scenes, working on stuff, they want to hear from you. They want to hear your story, because that builds the process of them getting to know you, liking you, trusting you, and buying from you, whether it's a service or product, or investing time with you. Maybe they're not spending money. Creating a sense of belonging and exclusivity at the same time. So it sounds counterintuitive, but this is what I mean. With Dallas Girl Gang, we want to tell everybody that they belong. You can sit with us. That's our motto. I trademarked it. Like, I am all in for that phrase, right? That whole philosophy. But when it comes to sales, or when it comes to, you know, launching something, or you want to create that exclusivity, saying, hey, everybody is welcome, but we only have 50 spots, or everyone is welcome, but this is closing. The doors for this are closing in 5 days, right? I'm like I said earlier, I'm launching a 6-week coaching program, and I'm taking 8 people, but anybody can get on the wait list or sign up for a phone call to see if it's for them. I'm not telling them that, you know, just because we have more than 8 people on the wait list, I don't want to talk to you. Anybody can do it. But so kind of creating both of that, because the inclusivity is going to draw them in. The exclusivity is going to make them do something about it. We do that a lot with our ticket sales. A thriving community tribe. How to grow and sustain. So I know we are checking my time. We're running out of time. So Donna Lisa, just flag me down if I need to stop. Okay. Listen to your following and survey them constantly. So if you are getting emails, comments on Instagram, comments on Facebook, messages in Facebook Messenger, listen to what they have to say. There's always going to be a negative Nancy, so take those with a grain of salt, but listen to what they have to say. If they say, hey, I wish we had this type of event, or I wish we had this type of product, or I wish there was this kind of thing, take it into consideration, right? We do about 2 surveys a year. We usually do one in the beginning of the year, and then one in the middle, or like in the fall. We're constantly growing. We've grown by like 20,000 in the last year. I don't know. That's probably not even true, but it's probably more. And so all of those new people, that could drastically change what our audience is or looks like. So what we found in the middle of 2019 was we're really serving 2 types of clientele. Their names are Amber and Jessica. I named our imaginary clients. Amber is the social type. She probably works a full-time job or part-time job, lives by herself. She's in her late 20s, probably has a pet, might have moved here 3 or 4 years ago, loves to explore the city on the weekends, go out, have a drink, whatever. Jessica is similar, but she is more likely that she's married, no kids, late 20s again, has a business, either full-time or as a side hustle, and wants to grow that business. So Jessica's really the entrepreneur type. Amber is the social type. We serve both, but we would have never known that if we had not listened to everybody that was coming into our audience, right? And again, that your ideal client, your ideal person, doesn't mean everybody else that doesn't fit that is excluded. For example, our majority might be millennials, but just by percentage wise, we're only in the 50 or 60% of millennials. Everybody else in our audience is scattered all over the place. We have so many different age ranges in our audience, but when you're speaking to people on social media, it needs to be really, really honed in. Serve them constantly. Serve your people all the time. All the time. I say this all the time. Serve, 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 and then sell. You're never going to get them to trust you like you know you if you do not serve them. It doesn't mean you kill yourself giving away free stuff or, you know, giving up all your time. But if people have questions, answer them. If you can put out a free resource, put it out there. If you have found something that's super useful, share it. Be genuinely lovely to be with. I get this from Jacqueline Johnson as well. She's been in a lot of different worlds. This is her second business. Be a pleasure to work with. And that, I don't know how else to say it. I've had many bosses, although, you know, I'm only 28, but I have jumped around several different schools. I've had handfuls of bosses. I used to work at churches. I worked as a teenager in the food industry, like all this kind of stuff. And it is drastically different when you work with people who are just a pleasure to work for and to work with. I can't tell you how many times when I was teaching, I was like, I thought to myself, I will never do that as a boss. I will never do that as a leader. But so be a pleasure. It's very important. If you're not good with people, find someone who is. What I mean by this is maybe if you're more introverted, if your personality is a little more blunt or straightforward, have someone to bounce things off of or to kind of help you maneuver those conversations, especially as a leader, and you'll learn. Get out and create an experience with your brand. Right now with Corona, this is a little hard, but an example of this is what we're doing right now, a virtual summit conference experience. So get out and create an experience with your brand. It doesn't mean you have to become an event-centric business like we are, but you can create so many different things nowadays. You know, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, record a video and then upload it to Instagram TV, start a YouTube channel. You know, video is so powerful. When people consume content on the platforms I just mentioned, they do have their volume on. They're watching for a purpose. If it's more than 20 minutes, they're going to turn their volume on. You know, that's just how it is. But creating an experience with your brand to where it's shareable too with other people, it is huge. So here are some next steps. And these are some real women from our lovely community. This is our communications community manager. And then she was a summer intern of ours a while back. But these are all real people from our community. They're not just people who showed up for a photo shoot. They're all actually real friends of ours. Find what works for you. If you feel overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I got to do email marketing and YouTube and TikTok. I don't even do TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Choose one, choose two. That's it. Focus on what you want to do, what feels natural for you, where your audience actually is, and then engage. The worst thing I ever see with potential clients or just people that we see in our community is they put posts out there, they put videos out there, they do a Facebook group, and then you never see them comment back or reply or reshare something from someone else's community or tag, you know, support people. Or you have to engage with people. Also, if you're talking specifically about Instagram, that's how the algorithm tells people that your account is worth following. So just FYI. I said this before, I'll say it again, I'll say it till I die. Serve, then sell. Serve them, and then sell. There's just no way you're gonna be able to do it any other way. Build momentum and increase visibility. So for example, this is a great idea. For example, for this is, let's say you're launching a new product. Get someone else in a complementary industry to support you in that launch and do an Instagram Live from their Instagram account. See if they want to partner that way. That's going to get you in front of their audience. You may not have any of their people in your audience, but you can build momentum across their platform to increase your visibility. An example of that we're doing right now, our planning, is for a conference. We have 20 plus speakers, all these different brands. And so we're planning a series of Instagram Live videos with our speakers or different brands to come on our platform or for us to go on their platform. We're going to do that like 5 or 6 times leading up to the conference because we want to target as many people as possible. My dad always taught me when it was pertaining to like job interviews, you cast a wide net. The internet is a massive fish to fry. So if you can cast a wide net, your chances are much better. So that is what I have. I know it's a lot of information. I always want people to walk away with tangible things that they can go practice, do. So I want to take questions, and then I can share a little bit more. Oops, I lost my mouse again. About our conference, and I have a free masterclass coming up. But we can take some questions really quick.
So Amanda, thank you so much. That was excellent. I have a couple of tidbits I took away. So Cece wanted to know, you talked about the woman with the Facebook group. She was wanting to know her name real quick, if you could repeat
Shannon
that.
Lutz, Lutz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we had a question from Jamie. Do you have the same kind of groups on LinkedIn?
That's a great question. LinkedIn is something that I'm leaning into personally for my personal brand. It's also a great way to find partnerships. As far as groups, I'm not super familiar with LinkedIn groups, but someone who is Liz Navarro, and she is actually an adjunct professor at SMU. She is a communications professor. She's a TED Talk speaker. She's speaking at a conference. She is like the LinkedIn queen. So,
what was her name again?
Liz Navarro, Navarro.
And you said she was at
SMU in Dallas. She's great.
Okay, so then Leslie had a couple of questions. So the first one was, how do people create community on Instagram?
Oh, I love this question. I don't even know where to start. There's so much. I could teach a 2-hour class on Instagram, okay? Number one, show up. And if you're going to choose Instagram, lean into it. Show up, and Instagram is a beast. So you got to show up every single day. If you want to create community, here's what I would do. Here's how I've created community just on my personal at Amanda's in Dallas Instagram. I share about my life. I share about my personality and my family. I share my coffee hacks. How do I make my coffee in the morning, or what do I get when I go out and get coffee? I talk about my business. I give free business value. I tell people they can actually send me a message if they have a question, because guess what? I will actually answer them. And, I share, like I love the show The Office. I love the show West Wing. I share the things that are unique about me, quirky things, funny things, health and fitness, self-care that people identify with. And so it's funny because now people, when they're out, if they go get like Dunkin' Donuts coffee, they will tag me and be like, oh my gosh, Amanda, I'm at Dunkin'. They're in my little girl gang, which of course I'm going to say that. They're in my little girl gang because they know they relate those things to me. So if you want to create community on Instagram, open up your life a little bit. If you're a brand, think about how you would do it in a Facebook group, right? I talked about those engagement posts. Same thing on Instagram. If you go to our Dallas Growing Instagram and just search around a little bit, you'll see, for example, we posted something a couple of weeks ago that was like a quote, like a very women empowerment quote. And then in the caption, we just said, tag a woman that you support. It got like 3,000 likes and hundreds of comments, because we have cultivated a community on Instagram that they know they can come to Dallas Growing and expect X, Y, Z, and expect to go in the comments of a post and find other people that they can relate to. So engagement, show up, and get people talking. And if people are sending you questions in your messages, answer them.
So we had a question as you were talking about that and sharing about, sharing your personal life. And so Laura H wanted to know, so would you get personal on your business page, on your business IG account?
So I'll only speak from what I do right now. So I have my personal account, my Amanda page. And that's where I share, I like people know right now, if they follow me, that we're buying a house. We're probably moving out to the country, that, my dog always, every time I try to work out in our apartment, she tries to work out with me and it never works. Like, they know those things about me. On Dallas Girl Gang, they know that I'm the founder and the CEO. They know I'm behind that platform. But for me personally, that's not where I would share that personal life stuff. They can find that on my personal page. They both are business accounts. But for our Dallas Girl Gang brand, for what we need to be sharing there, it just doesn't make sense to go that behind the scenes. Now, I will say this. I have a client who I worked with who launched she makes handbags handmade from Guatemala, because she's from Guatemala. And she will get in her stories and show her face behind the scenes, although the Instagram handle is her brand name, not her name Melody, if that makes sense. So it's really up to you. It's up to you. I think I would say this, in the early days of Dallas Girl Gang, I probably showed a little bit more about myself behind the platform, but now that it's kind of grown into its own brand, I keep my personal stuff on my personal brand.
So Amanda, would you say that on the business account piece, but you could do some behind the scenes kind of, maybe highlighting employees or showing employees doing certain things. So you could also take kind of a lighthearted, look at us, kind of what we're doing behind the scenes approach to your business page, without getting personal on, that your favorite thing is Dunkin' Donuts and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I would recommend you show people behind the scenes, like, hey, we're planning this event, we're showcasing, like, here's our assistant, here's what she does, I would do that, because that just builds your loyalty and trust with them all the more. Yeah, I would recommend it.
Leslie also wanted to know why are stories so important?
Because that's where people are. That's where people are watching. You are 10 times more likely to get your message across and your information across if you are showing up in Instagram stories. Think about how you use Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you get on and scroll and look through people's posts, or do you watch stories? There you go. Yeah. So think about where people are. And here's the thing. If you show up on stories, people will go to your profile. It's just like a cyclical thing. So if you show up on stories, that's where people are. Then if you are consistent, they're going to start going to your profile, liking your content and commenting. And then your actual posts in your feed are going to show up when they start opening their app again. It's just how the algorithm works. But like I said, Instagram is a beast. It's kind of where it's at right now. So if you're going to lean into it. Yeah.
Plus, I think on the Instagram stories, you can get a little more personal versus, like creating the aesthetic content on your actual page. Right.
And your feed too. Your feed can be so much more diverse than it used to be. You can add a swipe through, a carousel of multiple pictures, which Instagram loves, by the way. They love it when they love it when people spend more time on their platform. So think about that when you're creating content. You can do IGTV videos. So if you go live from Instagram now, it automatically creates an IGTV video. So when you click end for your IG live, it'll say, post this to IGTV, and then it shows up in your feed. So you can really diversify what's in your feed. And also, the aesthetic like pattern of your feed is not a huge deal anymore. I mean, I think it all needs to look like it goes with your brand,
Right.
but it is not as important as what you're writing, what it is, how you're getting people to engage, and arguing stories.
Cheryl wanted to know the name of your podcast, Amanda.
The Girl Gang Podcast. Girl Gang Podcast. Our recent episode was with a professor that I had at Ouachita Baptist University. She was a TV personality for a long time. Dr. Tiffany Urick. The episode is all about how to get press and exposure for your business, and you can do it yourself.
Thank you.
So, yeah, we
you're
had
welcome.
another question from Laura. She wanted to know how long it took you to become Amanda Smith. Several people I follow took several years and several bad videos and tumbles. Any advice for beginners?
Okay, what do you mean by become Amanda Smith?
I think it's probably, I'm guessing that
My
she's
personal-
probably just curious how you were able to, I mean, you've got 45,000 girls or women in your, you know what I mean? You're serving that big community.
I mean, it's been 3.5 years. So, you know, I think I said this the other day when I was doing like a mini training on my Instagram stories, I think, or some, I don't know where it was. The first time we got something written about us in the press, we had like 1,000 members in our Facebook group. And I think we had 1,000 followers on Instagram. Also, I didn't even start, this is kind of embarrassing, but I didn't even start an Instagram for Dallas Girl Gang until like 6 months or a year after I had started a Facebook group. Things just evolve and you go with it. And also I'll talk about this in a second because I'll share with you guys the free masterclass I'm doing next week. But if you are, I will say this, if you're so concerned or like worried that you don't have enough followers or you don't have enough people in your Facebook group or email list, higher numbers doesn't always translate to higher sales. And higher numbers doesn't always translate to higher credibility. For example, we have hired influencers before to work with us in Dallas Girl Gang, like promote an event we were doing that had 100,000 followers or more, and they did not even bring in the traffic that other influencers did that had like 2,000 followers. Because A, it was probably not aligned, and B, their engagement just wasn't there. So it doesn't always translate. So I would say give it time. If you don't have something that you are bringing people into your email list for first, do it now, like today, because that is so important. You don't own social media. You don't own Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg could screw us all and shut it down. So you own your email list. You own your email list. I'm very passionate about this, which is why I'm teaching this masterclass next week. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. If you are picking your couple things and getting consistent, you're going to be on a path that's just fine.
And we've got one last question from Marcia. She said, in a public Facebook group, how do you control the content people post and keep out the trolls?
Oh my gosh. If I had a nickel for every time we had a troll. This is why I said at the beginning, excuse me, you have to have rules. Also, if you're running a Facebook group by yourself, get help. SOS, get help. We have 20,000 people in our group now. I would have run away into a hole by now if I didn't have a team helping me. Excuse me. So have rules, and especially the feature where they have to answer those 3 questions before you admit them to the group. If you really, really, really want to keep out the trolls and the haters and the weirdos, you can, hold on, I bet you I can, well, I won't show you ours because there's a filter to where, and as you're the admin, when you go in and look at member requests, you can click, did they answer all the questions? Did they agree to follow our rules? If they didn't, bye-bye. Like, if you, that's how strict you want to be, that's what you're going to have to do. Also, because I have to go through this every week. Like yesterday, I just approved like 400 people to the group, and 12 of them were men, which is like, most of the time it's like a bunch of creepos, and no. Also it's called Dallas Girl Gang. People, men just think they're gonna find a date or something else. Anyway, then if they didn't agree to our rules, I don't, because what happens is, we all know this. This is the difference between Facebook and Instagram. The users are different. And on Facebook, you're going to have people that will shout their opinions from the rooftop. You're going to have people that are going to want to just start a fight. You're going to have people that are just going to want to troll people. So if you're not prepared to have a volunteer help you, have an assistant, maybe you can afford to hire a virtual assistant. That's not super expensive, to help you manage the Facebook group. You're going to get a lot of your sanity back. But it's up to you. I think there were a lot of things we learned in the early days, and especially now that we're continuing to grow, you know, and to be quite honest, Corona and, you know, Black Lives Matter and all of those topics, it is really hard because I can't control what other people say. That I had to tell someone that yesterday. Someone sent me an email. I don't even know how they found my email. We try to direct them to our general like customer service email first. But I said, I am so sorry. We can't control what other people say. The original poster did not break our rules. Someone else was being hateful. And here's what I will say too. Don't be afraid to just remove people from your group, because you're only going to grow, and you don't have time to sit there for an hour and figure out, she said this, he said that, blah, 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 and then play. It's like I'm a teacher again. It's like I'm trying to solve a conflict between two third graders, you know? So don't be afraid to, if they break your rules, you do not owe them anything, because if you owe them that, you owe 3,000 people in your group that too, or whatever. So don't set that precedent now. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but you have to protect yourself. And if people aren't following the rules, off they go. It's just Facebook, right? So that's what I would say.
So I think we just have a few minutes left. Amanda, do you want to share your contact information with us?
Yeah, I would love to. Okay, first, I am doing a free masterclass. It's called Screw 10K. It's a little cheeky. So everybody thinks they have to just get to 10,000 followers because it looks good and you have the swipe up feature in your stories, all that stuff. It's fine, but there's other strategies behind social media that are so much more powerful, and you don't need 10,000 followers to be successful. So if you want to take a screenshot of this right here, it's bit.ly/screw10k. That's on July 22nd. So it'll take you to sign up and confirm your registration. I'll leave that up for a second so you can grab it.
And then how can they contact you?
Yes. Excuse me. I'll talk about this in a second. You can find me on Instagram at Amanda's in Dallas. I'm on Instagram all the time. Like I said earlier, if you send me a direct message, it's really me and I'm really there. And oftentimes I just use the voice memo feature because it's just faster. Also, that's another tip for you too, especially if you're a service provider, like a coach or something. That really helps build credibility with them and just makes them feel more comfortable if they can hear your voice. Using a voice memo feature in a business way is so helpful. I would highly, highly recommend. So yeah, you can find me there on Instagram. And then if you want to chat more, we can like hop on a call or, whatever. And then for Dallas Girl Gang, dallasgirlgang.com, Dallas Girl Gang on Instagram. And then you can just search that in Facebook, join our Facebook group. And then we have the Boss Vision Conference, September 12th. There's the website. It's all virtual this year. We have 20 plus speakers from literally all over the world. It is going to be really phenomenal. Of course, we're sad we had to go virtual. We're a huge in-person events company, but we have shifted pretty well, I feel like. But it was so great to be with you guys today. Again, if you have any more questions, you're welcome to send me a message on Instagram, and we can chat it out.
And it's Amanda's in Dallas on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Yes, I can type it in the chat too.
Yeah, we had a couple people that were asking. So thank you so much, Amanda, for being here. And I think I think building community is much like the infamous we need to lose weight. There's no magic pill for it. It's all about consistency and just it takes a while to do it, and you've done an excellent job creating the kind of community that you were looking for. And we just really appreciate you sharing your words of wisdom with us this morning. So thank you.
It was so great to talk to you guys. It is my favorite thing to talk about community, and everybody can do it. And there's just, you are so unique to what you do, who you are, and people want to be a part of that. You just have to let them know.
Yes. So just real quick, we next month, August 11th, save the date, is our August WomenRISE, and we're going to have Nancy St. Jacobs. She's the Vice President of the Community-Based Development Officer at BB&T, which is now Truist, I believe. And she's going to be talking to us about developing a relationship with your bank, especially with the way things are going right now with Corona and the PPP and the just different things out there, really sharing how it's important to have a relationship with your bank. So Tracy, any last minute words of wisdom from you?
Oh, well, I just want to echo what you said too, Amanda. That was such great information, and so many things that people can really be doing right now to grow their business. So thank you so much. We really loved having you today.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's a joy.
Oh, you bet, you bet. And just thank you so much for everybody that attended today, and we hope to see you again next month.
Bye, everyone. Have a great week.
Guys.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you guys for having me again. I appreciate it.